Welcome to the Postmodern Art Podcast, a podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I'm your host, Nathan Ragland, and for today's episode, I present you a fantastic guest and giving you guys a conversation that I cannot help but say is Toonrific. Today's guest is ToonrificTariq, a video essayist, filmmaker, and animator leading the charge on the indie animated series Hey. Tariq is someone that I really do admire in this community, someone that is very thoughtful with how they present their ideals in their videos, the incredible thing that he's doing with Hey. It's someone that I can't help but love and admire. Though I will admit, I do have a bit of a grudge, because in fact that if it wasn't for him, I would have a Toonie Award for Best Podcasts. No, but in all seriousness, you guys should definitely check out Cartoons That Curse after you check out this episode, because this is a fantastic conversation that I know you guys are going to absolutely love. If you enjoyed Tariq, make sure you support him with all the links down in the description below. If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. Leave 5 stars wherever you can. You know, I see that stuff, and you know it genuinely warms my heart. If you want to go a little further with that support, may I recommend you check out the merch shop at fourthwall.com with a link to that in the description below. And look, if all you want is a nice, cool, casual place where you can meet some incredible artists, really get to connect with this community, and really grow and showcase some of your own stuff, may I recommend you check out our Discord server, the Artist Sanctuary. We have a fantastic group there that has already developed an incredible community, and I think you would be a fantastic addition to that group today. But now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast. Alright, Tariq, before we really get going, I must get the icebreaker question of the podcast out of the way. Let's say you get to go to a desert island on your own accord. It's just you, alone with your thoughts. You get to kick back, relax, breathe, get to truly enjoy yourself for a little bit. With accommodations, it's not a stranded desert island. You got the accommodations. It's like a little personal island paradise away from everything.
Okay.
To make sure you don't go completely insane on this island, you could bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you to help with whatever kind of headspace you want on this island. If given this opportunity, what would that one piece be?
You know, I've heard you ask this to people in the episodes I listen to, and I tried to have an answer prepared. Honestly, I feel like a good answer might just be all of The Simpsons, because you will never run out. You will never run out, and by the time you watch all the ones that you really like, it'll have been a long time since you've seen the ones that since you've seen the other ones, so you can just run those back to. It's never ending. So it's a cheat. It's an endless piece of media.
I mean, you're not wrong, especially the fact that it doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon.
Anytime soon.
I mean, regardless. I mean, I still think it's a great answer regardless, because I mean, like you said, there's the classics that we all love and remember, but for some it may have been a while since they see that, so it's like, let's go back to that, relive that, and then maybe catch up on the episodes that you don't remember as fondly, or you thought they were bad, get a chance to revisit it or whatnot. Or for some people, you know, there might be episodes they've never even seen in the first place and be like, okay, well, let me check out what the new stuff's all about.
Right, exactly. It's so many uses for it. It's like all purpose media.
Plus with like the different range and like the different writing, the different, you know, stories that they like to tell or whatnot, it'd be a good like study of like, you know, how they tell this story compared to how they tell this story, or how this person wrote versus that person or whatnot.
Yeah, you could start to like make connections and like your little like had developed like thesis on the island just around it.
Now, if only we can make a video essay out of that and get it out. Oh, well, you have Wi-Fi connections.
I wonder.
I mean, like I said, you do have all the amenities, so you would have the connection to be able to at least upload that. We might shuttle the Wi-Fi speed to make sure you don't, you know, spoil yourself by going into other medias. But regardless, the entirety of The Simpsons, that is your answer. You're locking that in.
Locking it in, yes.
Then if that's the case, I cannot think of a better way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Nathan Ragland. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. You would look fantastic in the merch that we have on the merch shop. Go to fourthwall.com or check the link in the description below. And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. He is a video essayist, filmmaker, and animator, leading the charge on the indie animated series Hey. Among many, many, many other things, welcome to the podcast, ToonrificTariq!
Oh, thank you. What a warm welcome. Thank you so much.
I tried to give my guests kind of that, intro that they absolutely deserve, and I think it goes without saying what some of the stuff you've been able to put out there and some of the opportunities you've both had and created for yourself. You deserve that kind of intro and then some.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. But before we talk about the stuff you're doing nowadays and what you're more or less developing, I want to go back just a little bit and learn more or less the origin story of Tariq. What got you interested in arts and animation in the first place?
As long as I can remember, the story I've always been told is that my grandma taught me how to draw when I was 1.
Okay.
And I just kind of been drawing ever since. We had a bunch of, just like any kid growing up at that time, we had a bunch of VHS tapes. Majority of them that I owned became videos on my channel. A boy named Charlie Brown. There's other stuff that I didn't that I haven't made a video on, but like Kimber the White Lion, I guess.
Okay.
But just kind of like miscellaneous stuff like that. It was never like Toy Story or like Lion King. I actually thought Kimber the White Lion was Lion King.
Right.
Till I was like 10, and then I was like, oh, so like there's this whole thing going on about. Okay, I didn't even know that. But yeah, it was never like the Disney, like the normal stuff that like kids grow up with. It was never like those kind of tapes. It was always like, stuff like that, like stuff like
it was always
like a boy named Charlie Brown,
it was always
the
like,
Alvin show.
Always those like obscure like video cassettes that are like either like a collection of a couple episodes from this one show that may have been popular in like the 60s or 80s or whatnot.
Right, yeah.
Not like the established like the Disney classics. You need to watch this today. Like no, it was
right, yeah. I didn't see a lot of those movies, like the Renaissance movies. I didn't see a lot of them until I was like 12 or like 13 or something. But yeah, it was like a boy named Charlie Brown, the Alvin show, like stuff that like I talk about today. And would watch those all the time. Would watch whatever was on Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney. I did not discriminate. I watched all of them. And yeah, just kind of I knew what kind of stuff I liked. I knew I was drawn to like the funny stuff or like the silly stuff or like the calm stuff, the mundane. Anything like any like action cartoons, aside from like a few that maybe like the art skewed a little cartoony, like Shaolin Showdown or something like that.
Yep.
Besides those, like I didn't really like engage with like action cartoons. I still would like watch some of them, like Ben 10 or something like that, but like I was never like a super fan. And that's like today I've noticed that like there's just like I'm like one of the only kids that kind of like did that, because I get comments all the time like, bro, you gotta talk about Ben 10, you gotta talk about Generator Rex, you gotta talk about Static Shock, like a whole bunch of stuff that like I knew was around and like I saw like every now and then, but like it wasn't stuff that like I grew up with or like connected with.
Like I imagine you're probably more the person that enjoyed like, for example, on Cartoon Network, like obviously like you love shows like an Ed, Ed, and Eddie or something along the lines of that. Or I know one of your personal favorite ones, and I know because it's my absolute favorite show or whatnot, Class of 3000. That show was something else.
Yeah, that show is great. That show that's one of the like I think that's like probably the best looking cartoon I've talked about. That is like I still can't even understand how they were able to do some of the things. That show is so pretty. It's pretty, it's stylish, it's funny. Like it's very funny. Absolutely. Like it's not even you think like I don't know, you think like celebrity made cartoon and you think like just this kind of like
think of like
cheap.
You think like crappy like the Hulk Hogan rock and roll wrestling like back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, Pro Stars or something like that. Exactly. You know, you think that, but like Class of 3000 just oozes effort and like love for everything. It's so good.
It oozes love, like charisma, all that kind of stuff. So, I wanted to bring up Class 3000 because I wanted to do my little casual flex here and whatnot. But early on in the podcast run, I actually got to talk to the director of Class 3000, Joe Horn. I actually invited him
Oh,
invited him to talk on the podcast, and like getting to talk with him about like all the different aspects that made that show a little different. The fact that Andre 3000 wanted to make like a show like that. Like he wanted to make just a show that more or less like flowed. That's why they looked like that, more like the flow of like,
mm.
musical notes or whatnot. That was something he was aiming for. I I want to blow your mind with this fact. I don't know if you've ever heard of this before, but something that Joe told me is that initially the show wasn't even for Andre, believe it or not.
Was it for Babyface?
No, it was not for baby. It was not for Babyface. No, it was initially supposed to be an Adult Swim show made for George Clinton of all people.
Now I kind of want that.
Right?
Yeah, now I kind of want that.
Like that was initially supposed to be the thing, and then but for some reason, like contracts or like timing or whatnot couldn't work out, so George Clinton had to step out. They then
Oh, no way.
brought in Andre, who is just fresh off of Outcast, really like slowly not becoming the thing. And then Andre was the one that's like, hey, I want to make this a kid show more than anything else. Like I want to give like a little bit of a mini educational stuff for these kids. And
Right,
that's how it
yeah.
became to be. Joey, funny thing is, Joe got the job because he was the only one to ask Andre, okay, what do you want for the show? Because
Mm,
every other director that came in, it's like, oh, I have an idea. This is how we're gonna do it. This is how we're gonna do that. Joe was like, this is your show. What do you want to do? So
that's real. I like that. That's what's up.
absolutely. If you want at some point for a future thing, I'll try to see if I can make a connection with you and Joe because I can only imagine the conversation you two could have. But back to obviously the conversation that we're trying to get to or whatnot. When did it go from obviously like this general love and appreciation for cartoons to a passion and wanting to make it your career in one way or another?
I like I've always knew that is what I wanted to do. I just remember distinctly having a conversation uh with my mother's ex-boyfriend, and he like briefly mentioned the fact that people got paid to make cartoons.
Okay.
I didn't even know that. Like I just kind of was like, I just want to rock out. I just want to do this. I didn't care if it like made me any money. But then when he brought that up, I was like, oh, this can like be my job. Like I don't even have to. And I was probably like 6, 7 or something. But from that point on, it was just like, okay, I got a straight shot career. Like this is where I want to go. This is exactly what I want to do.
Okay.
Um, and they always say that like the what is it? The later you're born, the more opportunities you have, I guess, because I when I got to high school, there was like, there were you could buy like a tablet and plug it into your computer. You can like upload videos to YouTube, like stuff like that.
Right.
Um, so when I got to high school, I just kind of had like a script for 3 characters that I drew: Kiki, Brad, and Cree. It was a cartoon called Power K. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make
Okay.
that. And then I met my friend Elijah like probably the first week of high school, and walking to school one day, he randomly said that me and him should make a cartoon together. And I was like, well, I have this idea and these characters. You want to do that? And then he had a tablet that plugged into his computer, which I did not have. So I animated every frame of that cartoon on paper. I would scan it, email him a big zip folder, and then he would go over and trace every drawing and paint to a side, clean it up, add color.
Okay.
And then like throughout high school, me and him, instead of just being the kids, it's like, oh, we're gonna make a cartoon someday. I just was like, why don't we just kind of like do it? We can.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, what I mean? Like we can. So yeah, we did that all 4 years. It gradually like changed. I At some point he taught me how to use it. I got my own tablet and he taught me how to use it.
Okay.
And then so I was instead all the animation was being done digitally and I was doing all of it, and would send him shots so he can do backgrounds. Uh but yeah, we did that all 4 years of high school, and then I tried to continue it in college, but it kind of like fell through, and then I started. That's when I really leaned into the videos because around the time that last episode I was working on fell through was around the time How to Black took off,
Okay.
which is that it's like it's my most popular video, and that was the one that like when that happened, I was like, oh, maybe I can do this. Like maybe this is actually something. This isn't just something I like posted vid. 'Cause I just would like I had dreams of like people watching and like caring and stuff like that, but like
Yeah.
you know, like I just was kind of like bullshitting. Like I was like making videos and uploading them and just kind of like, going about my time. Who cares? But then like all this all this attention happened and it was like I was getting like a bunch of comments like from people like I don't know, like surprised that I existed almost. Like, oh, you're like you look like me and you're talking about these cars. I thought I was crazy. I thought I was the only one that like, what I mean, I was getting comments like that and I was like maybe this is something that like people don't this was a voice I felt like I would have appreciated as a kid. So I was like, maybe this is something like other people could appreciate too. And then like, I met all my friends through it and I was like, well, y'all can stop talking to me like I'm the only one. Like, look at my friends.
Yeah.
Like, so that's why I would try to bring whoever I could help out. If I like think if I think like you make good videos, like I just want to help.
I,
That's
I
kind of how I feel.
I mean, that's honestly a good mentality to have. I mean, to be fair, I kind of try to do the same thing with more of the promotional aspect of like bringing on talented people with talented voices one way or another and promoting them. So I totally get that vibe. I want to go back to when the video stuff, like the video essays, more or less start taking off, but go back a little bit in a way. When did you first discover like video essays and what intrigued you about it and what made you want to dabble with that a little bit?
It was like a huge like melting pot of things.
Okay.
Around like eighth grade is when I found people like uh who are all people that I know today, which is very funny.
Oh wow.
But it's when I found people like uh Animat and Rebel Taxi,
Yep.
Pan Pizza, Doug Walker, Nostalgia Critic. Like it's when I found all of them and like people that I still don't know, like Lindsay Ellis and like AVG, and like around that time is when I found all of them. And I was like really like I just love the format of like talking about like media. I thought that was really cool.
Right.
Um and I would be so fascinated by like the different approaches and the different things they chose to focus on. So again, around the same time as that like I think literally the same time maybe as me writing that script with those characters was when I decided I was gonna do a YouTube channel where I talked about cartoons. I remember going to see fighting actually. I remember seeing the trailers for the Lorax and I remember fighting to go see the Lorax. I wanted to see it so bad.
Okay.
And every time I went, it was like sold out. That never happened. I had never seen a movie be sold out before. The movie was sold out. Like that one time they canceled the show and I couldn't see the
What?
Lorax. I didn't know what was going on. And then I finally we caught a showing at some obscure theater that was like 10 miles away. And we go see the Lorax and I didn't like it and I was upset. So the first video essay I did for my channel, that joint is gone now, but
Right.
it was about the Lorax. Um and yeah, from there it just was like I just would kind of mimic what I saw. Like you watch like older videos and it's like obviously me trying to be Pan or Doug or Lindsay when I'm trying to sound smart. Like, you know what I mean? It's just me kind of like I want to do this. Just like everybody's like early videos, I guess, in a
Yeah.
way. Um,
We all take those like influences a little too personally and try to reiterate that, regurgitate that instead of finding our own voice and speaking with that.
yeah, and I think that's part of the process. You kind of gotta. It's like drawing, right? If you start off, um, I don't know, like if you really appreciate the art of Powerpuff Girls, and then you start drawing the Powerpuff Girls, and when you start creating new characters, they also look like the Powerpuff Girls. Eventually, you'll like an elephant from a different show, and then you'll throw that into you drawing like the Powerpuff Girls until it morphs into its own thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is, I guess. But
I mean,
yeah, that's like the start of the videos, honestly.
I mean,
Was just that.
as I say, any sort of like creative venture like that, like you said, you kind of like you take your base influence and just kind of mold until it kind of becomes your own thing. And I mean,
Right,
you
yeah.
want to talk about molding into your own thing? Look at the platform you've more or less developed for yourself with these incredible like video essays, on all
Oh,
sorts of
thank
different
you.
fronts. I was gonna say you kind of mentioned it, but the how to black video and how
Hmm.
that more or less like blew up and made you realize, oh, I could actually do this like more passionately. Like I can actually pursue this a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
What was the catalyst for the video in the first place? Like, why did you decide to make it? And how surreal is it for you to see it kind of gain the ground that it has?
It is. It's very surreal. So what happened was, in high school again. This is one of my best friends now, but in high school I used to watch the Round Table, hosted by
Yes.
my homeboy Kevin, and Kevin did a video. I guess around the time Craig of the Creek was coming out, there was some people that like were like saying like, oh well, like why is he black? It doesn't make any sense. Like it was created, but it's not created by like two black people. Like he's just kind of like it doesn't even make, it's not, his story has nothing to do with being black. Like it was kind of like talk like that. And Kevin made a video basically like talking about that and like being like, oh, this is dumb. Stop thinking like this. This is stupid. Um, and I really liked what Kevin did, but that also just kind of got me thinking about like, well, is there like what is if this is really like this person's train of thought, is there like a legitimate reason for a character to be black? And I remember Googling and like looking up on YouTube. I was like, has somebody ever done a video on black cartoon characters? I remember looking it up and not seeing anything. And I was like, shit, okay. Uh I went to the library at my school. I was in college at the time. I went to my library. I had a notebook. It's somewhere in here still. I took the notes just like that. Wrote it all in a notebook. Um, I like wrote it, recorded it. Asked Dub to be in it. That's back when I like barely knew him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just kind of it took forever to edit too. Like it's only like a little like 19-minute video. I could do that in like a day now, but like back then it wasn't like a regular thing for me. It took forever. All the note taking and stuff happened in like November
Mm-hmm.
of 2018, and I think the video went up January 2019. And I remember like close to when it was about to come out. I remember being in like a group call with a bunch of friends, and I remember saying, if this video I'm editing doesn't get to 1 million views, I'm gonna take it down. I was not. I was joking. I did not mean that. Uh, but I guess I can't take it down now since I said that. But yeah, and yeah, I put it up, and it was. I you hear that like overnight success really does not exist, but it was legitimately overnight. Like I would refresh and the video would have like 3 4 more thousand every time I refreshed. It was like mind bending how out of the gate it was. um and how positive it was too. I mean, like there was definitely like discussion of like some points like made in the video. And even now, obviously, like definitely now, like I look back on that and like I have like a lot of critiques of the video like
Right.
itself anyway. But like, it was just like a lot of people were just like happy that the conversation had started for real. It wasn't really like a talk. It was just kind of like a thing people like notice. Like every once in a while somebody would notice a trend in like a certain kind of black character, but there was never like a piece that like dissected and discussed it, even if it was even if it's just like in like a small way, I feel like it made an impact. And even though I'm not really like a fan of the video anymore, I still do like appreciate like what it did and what it means to people, like the comments I would get and the comments I still get on it. It still manages, even though I don't know if many people know this, but How to Black ends with like a little like AMV-ish thing to I forgot the name of the song, but it's by Joe Sample. I do not own that song, therefore that is it's called Melody of Love. I do not own that song, therefore it is copyrighted. I made a total of $200 from How to Black. This entire time, the video got like 3 million views.
Yeah.
So like, you know what I mean? It was never about that. It was always about, because I could have once I saw, you kidding me? Once I saw those numbers going up, I could have jumped on YouTube Editor so quick.
Yeah.
And took that. But it wasn't about that. It was about the emotion and the feeling. I felt like that song was important to the piece. And I still wouldn't change that. It's still in my top 10 to this day on YouTube. I could take it out anytime I want, but I don't think I will. I think it's important to it. But yeah,
I'll say, man, especially if nothing else, like you were saying, the discussion that kind of still leads to YouTube to this day. But I mean, especially for you, also set more or less like the groundwork or the foundation for the stuff that you're producing these days, and the connections you've been able to have, and whether they're helping you with your videos or you're helping other people with their stuff or whatnot. Like it's amazing how like one little decision of like, no one's talking about this, led you to where you are right now. It's that weird domino effect that you see like trending on Twitter or whatnot. Like, what's your biggest domino effect or whatnot?
I have a few of those. It's just like, man, if this one stupid thing doesn't happen, very similarly, maybe a year later, actually, my friend Ed from college, who's actually my roommate now, he called me once, maybe 1 a.m. or something like that. And they were just like, him and like his roommate in college, they were like on the phone with me. They were just kind of like, I don't really know why they were fucking with me, but they just were like, what this Nicktoon, where was you what tier is this? And I was like, B tier or something, whatever. And then he asked me as told by Ginger, and then I said, C. And he was like, really? Why? And I was like, I don't know. It just, I didn't really, I was like, I don't know. And it turned into him challenging me to a game of, I don't remember, it might have been like NBA 2K, like maybe like 18 or something.
Okay.
Maybe 17 or 18, maybe. But he challenged me to a game, and if I won, no, if I lost, I would have to do a video on that still by Ginger. And then like just for fun, I turned it into if I win, I'll do Class of 3000. Obviously I lost. And then I did the As Told by Ginger video around the same time as me doing that. Offbeat Kiki, who I did not know back then, they did a video on As Told by Ginger, and they saw mine. They reached out. We chopped it up a little bit, and they were saying that they wanted to collaborate on something, and I thought that would be dope. Out of the sea of names of cartoons, they said one of them was Braceface. And I had got comments about that after doing As Told by Ginger. So I was like, oh yeah, we could do that. It took probably a year, honestly. It took a long time. But we finally did it. And that's my second best doing video. And not even just that, that's how I met Keeks, who I'm still great friends with today. Right. That's how all my friends met Keeks. That's how I met Harry on the Hook, who I'm also good friends with. She commented on the video, and like that's how we met, pretty much. And that's how all my other friends met her too. It's like this like big And if Ed doesn't call me at 1 a.m. and ask me where I rank as told by Ginger on the tier list, like none of this happens.
Uh, so
It's
so
just a domino.
so what you're saying is I need to thank as told by Ginger for the reason why we're having this conversation today.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, yeah.
Because it's like you wouldn't have met that group, and then you wouldn't be doing stuff with that group, leading to the Animation Appreciation Hub stuff. We wouldn't be meeting at a convention in Georgia, where I also happen to be at because I live in Georgia, but also like my friends decided to go to that convention, and bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Oh goodness, that has to be like insane. Like I. I've had like one interview that I've had that crazy effect with. It was my interview with Dubus Goobus, like jumping up to like 20-some thousand views or
I
whatnot.
saw that when I was going through the going through the uploads. I saw that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's absolutely insane. Like, I was in that same boat. That was the one that got me over. It was that video alone that got me to be a YouTube partner because it got me over the 1,000 threshold because I had been uploading, videos and stuff like that. The views it got with that one to the point where I could start making money. I didn't get paid for a year and a half because my videos weren't doing good after that video. But, hey, at least I have it and at least I'm slowly earning the money here.
Right. Right. Yeah, for sure.
Goodness. It makes me curious, like, obviously you've put a lot of time and effort to a lot of these videos and, especially with how your mental could be sometimes like on and off working on this kind of stuff. Is there a personal favorite video that you enjoyed making? Maybe not the results afterwards or whatnot, but like, is there a video that comes to mind that you absolutely love just making and developing into what it is?
Yeah, I have a couple answers to this question. I think they were all fun in different ways. The first one I'll say is The Weekenders.
Okay.
When I did a video on The Weekenders. Uh and just a little background on that. Like I had that year is when I started doing like the Peanuts retrospective things.
Right.
And I had committed to doing one of those a month, and plus I had signed like something with Skillshare that kind of like had me do a video a month too. So that's how it lined up, and I just was kind of I was like, okay, I can do the Peanuts thing, and then I'll do like some other video, and then like ping pong it every month. But like I just kind of like that's when I started to like not enjoy making videos anymore. So even I couldn't even stomach like trying to face a new piece of media. So I was like, man, I'm just gonna do these Peanut things because that's like all like I feel like I can do. And then couple that with them not doing well, it was just kind of like I don't want to do these and they're not doing well. I am having the worst time possible. There's that I think it's the sixth one. When I talk about someday you'll find her, Charlie Brown, with and I'm like doing all this yelling and like little Linus, like you know what I mean. I got so many comments, like people like, oh, I can tell like you're having so much fun. There is, and this is not a joke. I promise I'm not making this up. My friends can attest to this because I chopped the audio and sent it to them because I was in disbelief. There is a point when recording that video in the uncut audio where I like stop in the middle of a sentence and I just go, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. Like it was that bad. It was that bad. So after the sixth one, I was like, look, I got to step away for a little bit. I got to take a break. I was still living with my mom. It was cool. I was like, all right, I'm gonna step away from doing videos. And then one day I just kind of felt like watching The Weekenders. So I did, and I just started watching it, and then like I thought of something funny and then I wrote it down. And then I kept going and I wrote more things down. And then I didn't tell my friends yet, but I was in my head, I'm like, I think this is turning into a video. And then I went and watched the old review I did of the show back when I was in high school. And like, I just like cringed at every second. And I was like, oh, this is gross. I hate my old stuff. And then it just kind of turned, that video was just kind of like, not only is it like this like sense of like recharged energy because it's like I fell into it and I made it like a happy accident. But it's also like this like reflection on my time doing these things
Mm-hmm.
and how I feel about it. Um, and so yeah, that one is like that one means a lot to me. The other ones don't have as long-winded answers. The other one is the Chipmunk Adventure,
Okay.
where I incorporate the interview I did with Dan Haskett. Honor to speak to Dan Haskett. He's a great guy. He's a cool guy. And just that movie, I know it like the back of my hand. I love it to pieces. It was just really fun. I think the jokes in that one are really funny. It was just really like fun to put together. I think all the elements come together really well in that one. And more recently, I did I think it's called a nostalgic look at cartoon TV specials,
Yes.
where I talk about 5 specials that I grew up with that I remember seeing the night that they came out. I felt like I was in rare form putting that together. I was having so much fun. I got to watch all these cartoons that was so cool and funny. Jimmy Neutron, Ed, Edd and Eddie, are you kidding me? It was like the best. It was the best time. Cartoon TV movies was also really fun. The one that followed it was also really fun. And crossovers was fun in its own way. Definitely, because I didn't really like the Jetsons and Flintstones one.
That's a valid.
So
That's
that
a
tanked
valid one.
it. That tanked it a little bit, but it was still fun in its own way. But yeah, those are my three. Those are the three horsemen of the Toonrific Tariq apocalypse.
I mean, honestly, those are all really good in their own right. Obviously, I mean, hearing how much fun you had with those, how you're able to put all those together. I was say I know for me watching some of those, especially like some of the more recent ones you were talking about, like the TV crossover one. I love how you put that video together more than anything
Oh,
else.
thank you.
Getting the people that you had to help you out at some point with like, since I'm doing a crossover with this one, let's get a crossover with every single section. Like it's so
Yeah.
simple, but it's smart.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I would say I also appreciate the Simpson like special episodes crossover ones that you did as well.
Hmm.
That one was another real fun one to listen back on more than anything else. Like I
Thank you.
I can only imagine like on top and like speak of obviously crossover and all that kind of stuff. Some of the people you've been able to meet along the way as well. You kind of hinted at with some of the people, but I imagine it's also led to some more interesting opportunities. Mainly, I'm surprised how many podcasts you were involved with. I did not realize this until I was doing more research with you. I think for now, I think I want to talk about at least the a one that a lot of people will know for, one that I certainly know for personal reasons, and that is Cartoons That Curse.
Yeah,
More than
yeah,
anything else.
yeah.
How did that podcast more or less like develop to be?
Oh, okay. So I did a video on the episode of Family Guy with Brian and the old lady, Brian Wallows and Peter Swallows. And when
Right.
I did that, uh, that was the first thing I did that Johnny saw. My friend Johnny Tucellos, he saw that, he reached out, and we became like mutuals. We would like talk every now and then. But one day, I think he like reached out or something, and we just kind of like got on a call and we talked for like maybe like an hour or two, just like about how much we love cartoons. Honestly, like it was like a lot of Simpsons talking, Family Guy talk, not Family Guy talk, but a lot of Futurama talk and like King of the Hill talk. Like, you know what I mean? I remember asking him about American Dad, and he said he hadn't seen it, and I was telling him like what to look at. Uh, and that honestly, that conversation was the birth of the podcast. It was
Okay.
just kind of like w- we should just do this. We're just like it's just falling out of us. We might as well just do it. When I was a kid, uh the same ex-boyfriend of my mom that I was talking about earlier, he caught me watching American Dad and he went in and told my mom that I was watching cartoons that curse. So that stuck with me for my whole life. And when I pitched it as the name of the podcast, adult animation cartoons that curse. Um, and yeah, we originally did a format where we like watch an entire season because this was like when COVID first started.
Right.
So it was like, oh, we watch an entire season, do an episode of the podcast, talking about every episode. Um, that like took a toll on us, and now we kind of moved it to like this guest format that like we really like and that we're having a good time with.
Good, good.
But yeah.
I mean, I can certainly tell with some of the episodes I've been able to listen in on, and some of the cartoons y'all got to talk about. Like, for example, the Saber Spark episode. I love that episode with what.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
that was a good one. Do you have a personal favorite episode of the podcast yourself?
Oh, that's a good question. Uh, it's going to sound like is I'm okay. I'll dial it back a little bit because that Saber one is really I like that one too. I think that one's great. But if I'm like being completely honest, and it's gonna sound like I'm like shameless plugging, but I swear I'm not. There's two episodes on the Patreon that are my favorite.
Okay.
There's one where we talk about the Gumby movie. Um,
Right.
there's that one, and then there's another one where we talk about Ted 2. Those are my two favorite episodes because the Gumby one is it starts off with confusion because if anybody's seen that movie is nonsense. It starts just like how we all make fun of Doug's first movie.
Mm-hmm.
That movie starts with a title card that says Gumby 1. There is not a Gumby 2, nor 3, nor 4. Gumby stopped at 1, but the movie calls itself Gumby 1. And after that point, it's just nonsense. It's incoherent. I don't even understand what I was looking at. So a lot of that episode is us yelling about that. And then it just turns into this deep dive of finding out that there's like two Gumby series and like they're 20 years apart and one got like over 100 something episodes. Like it was just a blast. And Ted 2 was just like usually the way that podcast goes is especially on Patreon because it's me, Johnny, and our producer Mikey. There's all three of us on the mic. Usually how that podcast goes is either we all love something, two of us love something and one of us just kind of likes it. Like there's some variation on that, like a like love. Maybe one of us doesn't like it, but like the rest of us like it and have some appreciate it. Ted 2 was the first time like none of us were like what the fuck? Like nobody. Like none of the three of us. Like we were not fucking with Ted 2. And that's why that episode's funny to me. Cause I'm not even that kind of guy to like yell about media and like be like overly upset, you know what I mean? Like, cause people still worked on it and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it just the sheer amount of like confusion and like disdain we had for like so many choices. I think that episode is a blast. Those are my two favorites. But if you want a favorite main feed one, it's Def Saber.
I mean, I'm not saying you have to show, but there is a point at the end of the podcast where I'm going to ask you for your social, so you'll be plugging one way or another.
Okay.
I mean, regardless, like I can only like. It's always like conversational podcasts like that I absolutely cannot get enough of. Just like people chill and talk about the stuff that they love. I mean, it's more or less a basis of this kind of podcast, like talking to artists about the stuff that they more or less love. And so, like, to see you guys, like, taking that, bringing on other people along for the ride, and just either talk about what y'all love, or just having a blast talking about the random obscure nonsense when Ted pulls out his phone playing Angry Birds or some BS like that, Like, I get it. I can only imagine, especially, like, being exposed to all these different cartoons in one front or another. I imagine that has to have an influence on you on how you love cartoons and want to reiterate that to the world. I imagine one of the biggest ways that you're going to be reiterating that is with your own indie animated series. Hey, I know you kind of talked about like wanting to kind of get into animation in the first place. So I imagine this is more or less an extension of that. So like, how did the concept for this show come to be? How did Hey become a more solid, concrete thing that you're producing right now?
Yeah. So there was a point in time where like around the time of that Weekenders video I was talking about before, I had started working at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
And on the way to work once, I was listening to the album New Beginnings by SWV.
Okay.
That album has two songs on it that changed my life.
Really? Okay.
One of them, I remember exactly where I was when I heard it. It was the last song on the album. I was in the store when I heard it, and the last notes of that album is just like this, like slowly fading out, Unity, that's what we need. And I heard that, and I was like, "Whoa, what is that?" And I like had to like go look it up, and like it wasn't even like a sample or something. So I like took it and like made my own loop. I'm telling a completely different story at this point. But on that album, there's also a different song called it's Use Your Heart, but it's the interlude. And when I heard that, I started like, if you just listen to music and just start envisioning kind of
Yes.
animation almost. So I started like seeing things, and I saw like a couple, and I saw them like around my age, like, and I just saw it in my mind. And I was like, whatever that is, I gotta figure out what that is. Uh for years, I mean not for years, for probably a year, Marcus and A existed as text. They were one script that I wrote. They didn't have any friends. It was just Marcus, Nay, and it was a couples therapist. I had always felt like uh I'd always kind of felt like there was like a subsection of just like black culture that didn't like fully embrace animation, and the specific kind of people that I'm thinking about, the people that like I grew up with, is like they watch stuff like Insecure and like The Wire, like these kind of these are like the pinnacle like well produced black shows. So I always felt like in order to get like that kind of people to care, you got to make the cartoon equivalent of Insecure or The Wire. And I don't think I can do the Wire one, so I
Right.
wanted to do the Insecure one. That's one of my favorite shows ever. So it really started out as that. It was really cartoon Insecure. It was gonna be like this like overarching thing with like all these arcs, and like they were gonna have like a complicated relationship, and things like that. It was gonna be like real nuanced, which like I'm not even saying these just like bad things. Obviously, it does sound very interesting, but the shift came from while doing cartoons that curse. Uh, Johnny had an opportunity uh to go see the Bob's Burgers movie 2 weeks early when I was coming out in theaters. And I went out to LA to go meet with us. The first time me and Johnny had met in person. I went out there,
Okay.
linked with him, and we went to go see the movie. And like when I walked out that movie, like that's when I was like, I have to make something right now. Like I have to do it right now. There's only a few times that's happened to me where I'm like, oh, I have to go. Like I was like, I have to do something right now. As soon as I got home, designed like Nate, Marcus, and they were like already designed, but like I gave them like their friends,
Hmm.
and stuff like that. Like really like creating this world and these characters. Um, and because of the movie, I fell into watching Bob's Burgers and like watching a bunch of episodes and like really understanding the show. And I really appreciated Linda and Bob's relationship and how wholesome it was, how much
Yes.
they cared about each other, how like there wasn't like there isn't any sense of like selfishness or stubbornness. The conflicts are not like there's no jokes about like them like hating each other. Like the conflicts are not do or die. It's
Hmm.
just, oh, we misunderstood each other for like a split second, but I still love you. Like that's how that show's written. And I look at like all the black shows that I grew up with, and like a lot of them are like like Martin or like My Wife and Kids.
Yep.
Great shows, love those shows. The man is like a child, and his girl, his wife or whatever, she has to like take care of him, and like he like belittles her feelings. He's like a stubborn man. It's not funny to write like a dude if he's not an asshole, I guess. But
In Hollywood's eyes,
uh,
unfortunately.
right, yeah. So just noticing that, I was like, man, it would be cool if there was like a black thing that was like this too. And
Yeah.
that's where the marriage came in with both with Insecure meets Bob's Burgers. Um and yeah, ever since then I've just kind of been like molding and shaping hay like based around like that foundation to have something for people that like love animation, to have something for people that like may not have thought animation was for them, but they needed this kind of story, and it like opens them up to animation, like and just to have something wholesome for people to go to and like to put on and like see themselves in, like, and identify with and laugh with. Like none of the characters, there's no like hate. You know what I mean? There's no jokes about like, oh, we don't really like this guy or that guy. Like it's just, and it's not like corny, wholesome, let's go sharing, but it's fun. That's the way I like to describe it.
I mean, that's one of the things I've been absolutely loving with every little tease I get of Hey, just like how wholesome it is at the end of the day. Like obviously it's gonna be that fun adult comedy that we're gonna accept, but it's not like I hate to, as much as we all love it, it's not gonna be like a Family Guy humor kind of thing to where it's just gonna be a bunch of jokes thrown at the screen or whatnot, or it's not
Right,
gonna be
right, right.
it's not gonna be the man child aspect dealing with like
Hmm.
the naggy, like it is a true like wholesome like couple just sharing the struggles of everyday life and just trying to make it through day by day with each other at the end of the day. I love that dynamic so much. I mean, I'm a fan of Bob's Burgers too, so like I totally get that like inspiration more than anything else. And with everything you've been able to like everything you've been able to develop with this, like more than anything else, it's been absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
The characters, like I said, I love their dynamic, especially the voice actors and like what little bits of the voice we get to see here and there. Like I love the interactions. They're so natural, they're so flowing, and I cannot get enough of that. It
Thank
like
you.
this is gonna be easily like one of the best comfort shows when we finally get a chance to see it. I can instantly tell, and I cannot get enough of it. Like I can only imagine for you like how cool it is for you to be able to produce a show like this, but I also imagine, especially as your first time producing something like this, it must be a major learning experience at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's I have kind of a learning curve because of in high school me and my homeboy we did that cartoon.
Right.
It isn't the same like it wasn't like fully animated. It was more like animated kind of colored animatic kind of
Mm-hmm.
style or whatever. Um, so this is definitely different, and plus this is way more collaborative. I'm working with like artists and like a lot of my friends and like people I've admired. Uh, which is really fun. It's definitely a learn. I've learned two programs so far.
There you go.
I've learned Storyboard Pro and I learned Toon Boom Harmony. Uh, and it's all for the sake of getting this done and making this happen because I really care about it.
I
Uh,
mean,
yeah.
I can tell you care about it. I imagine you also must be surprised already how many people already care and want to see more of this as well.
I am. The support has blown me away. It's not to the same scale, but like it's kind of reminiscent of like what it was like to drop How to Black. It just kind of being like, oh, like people like want something like this. Like
Yes.
actually, oh, okay, cool, cool. It's cool because I want to do it. So, but yeah, it's been great. I'm really grateful for it. I can't get enough.
I can only imagine like how excited you must be to finally reveal this to the people. Like what out of all the different aspects of the show, what is the thing you're most excited to like reveal to the people whenever the show is finally ready to go?
The most excited to there's ooh, how do I even say this? There is a guest.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna say what they do, uh, but there is a guest that is on the cartoon that I can't even like I'm so excited. I can't wait to see I can't wait to see what people say and how they react. Um it's definitely the guest. But even I'm also there's moments in the show that I'm excited too.
Right.
I'm really proud of the ending of the episode. I think it's like I think we did a good job like kind of tying the bow. Um, so I'm excited to see how people react to that too. I think that's gonna be great. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And even then, those little teases, like I was already excited. Now I'm like curious, like more than anything else. Like what, what mysteries are you keeping from us, my wonderful Tariq?
I don't even know if people will guess it.
Oh
It's one of those.
wow! you. This is the internet we're talking about here. Someone's gonna get within
They
like an
might.
hour, like within an hour of the episode releasing. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, regardless, like it's again, I cannot tell you how much I am excited just to see like the first little glimpse of it. So I imagine for the other people that may be excited, what should we expect from Hay whenever we finally get a chance to see it?
Um. just expect to see characters that like really love each other and care about each other. Um, I don't know. I think all my friends say that they like it, which I'm glad. It means I'm not making like some bullshit because they're honest. Uh, but I think it's just, I'm just really proud of like the story we were able to tell, and I pray that we're lucky enough to be able to make more. Because I would love to like keep it going indie and like make a second and third. I have plans for different episodes. I know where these characters will probably be at the end of a potential season.
Okay.
And I fully intend on going for it and trying. Like it's not even like a if the pilot comes out and it does, then I just kind of walk away. I think I care too much. I'm too stubborn. So I'll figure something out, and I'll make it happen eventually. I think part of it helps that I can animate too.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but yeah, I'm really excited for people to see it.
Good. I mean, you already know my excitement for the show, but I mean, regardless, like that's got to be. I cannot wait to see the people's reaction more than anything else. Like, if people are not already paying attention to this right now, they need to get on board because like this is gonna be something fun. I can tell you, it's gonna be fun at the end of the day. I mean, it must be insane for you just thinking back of just your art journey as a whole, like just starting back watching those like classic, obscure cartoons here and there on the TV, to where you are right now, being able to talk about cartoons like that, presenting your own cartoon, all these different aspects. Like, it has to be like amazing and surreal, the art journey you've been on so far.
It has. It honestly has. I'm really grateful for all the opportunities that I've had, that I've been given, chances people have taken on me, like even just people like actively deciding to like click and watch. That seems like such a small thing um to thank people for. But like it really does like mean a lot to me that like this many people care about what I have to say about Jimmy Neutron or something like
Yeah.
that. Like and like that people tell me that I make them laugh, and that like they had like a long shift and then I dropped and suddenly it's just like, oh man, I'm gonna go get my food and I'm gonna have a good day. Like I love stuff like that. I get it. I get it whenever I put a video out, and it always makes me happy. Whether the video does well or not, there's always somebody that reaches out and was like, "Hey man, I needed this one today. Thank you." And I love that. It's the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great. I appreciate everything.
I mean, I imagine, especially for you, kind of like you said, whenever you whenever you first dropped the how to black, more than anything else, like being that voice that you wanted to see out there for like as you put in like the description of your YouTube channel, just kind of telling the people, especially the weird black kids, that they're actually make them feel normal because of the shows that you
Yeah,
watch or whatnot. Like, I also imagine it must be surreal for you knowing that you are that voice and you are giving those people that kind of voice that you would have loved and appreciate growing up.
yeah. It's a surreal feeling. It's a real surreal feeling. Yeah, I always said that I wanted to do that, but to an extent be actually like in it. It's gratifying. It really is. And I just want to help as many people as I can.
I think you're doing that and then some, especially what you've been able to do. But for this next question, if I may, what if I go a little bit more above and beyond and give you more or less
Okay.
the dream scenario, if I may? Let's
Okay.
let's say I am Big Shot Mr. Moneybags. I come to him like, look, Tariq, we've seen the stuff you've been able to deal with. Like, obviously, we've seen the incredible video essays, and we've seen what you've been teasing with. Hey, we know that there's something there. You just need a little extra, extra push, a little platform to really get you to that point. We have access to everyone and anyone in whatever industry possible, and more money there should be possible. You really should be, giving those animators, because that strike is either coming up like real soon, or right around the corner, or maybe it's already here by the
That's
time this
right.
episode drops or whatnot. But that's for later. We'll focus on them. We promise. Right now, we are focusing on you and you alone. If given this opportunity, what would be the dream Toonrific Tariq project?
The dream Toonrific Tariq project.
Mm-hmm.
I That's a stupid answer. Am I really gonna say that? I have. This is a really dumb answer. This
Okay.
might not actually be the answer, but if given, I feel like if given a blanket opportunity and a bunch of money, I think this is not only something I really, really want to do, but it'll be successful enough to where people might let me do whatever I want.
Okay.
There. Uh, I so bad want to do an animated Alvin and the Chipmunks movie with Bill Burr as Dave. I want to do it so
Oh.
bad.
Oh. Oh my God. Wait.
Let me do that. I will make the greatest movie ever produced by male hands.
I'm sorry. Time out. Why has Hollywood not thought of this movie beforehand?
Oh no. They need to do I want to do it so bad. I think that would be so good. I want to do that bad. I think that's such a stupid answer, but that might actually be my answer.
I mean, just thinking about Bill Burr's like reactions alone to stuff, and like okay, so this might be the make or break thing. Are you gonna make it more of an adult animated thing, or are you gonna keep it PG like the Alvin and Chipmunks thing?
Oh, I never thought about that for some reason.
Like, can Bill say the fuck words? Like, for fuck's sakes, Alvin!
Oh, you know how funny that would be? Maybe it would. Maybe it would. Maybe I would try to make an adult, but there's a possibility that makes no money.
Right, right.
But
Or at the very least, like,
I don't know.
or at least like a PG-13 one or whatnot. So that,
Right,
so that
right.
Bill Burr's allowed one fuck. He's allowed one fuck.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Oh, that's good. You know what? You're probably right. Yeah. Okay. I'm back in. I'm back in. PG-13, Alvin and the Chipmunks. Bill Burr says fuck once. I'm all in.
That's the entire title of it. Oh my God. Hold on a second. Where's my wallet? You can take my money right now. That's so great. I mean, hey, if nothing else, the money you could definitely be getting from that, like, definitely get back to where you can fund some of the other stuff that you really want to do.
Right, exactly. That's my thought process. Yeah.
I have a backup question now because we know the history he has with it or whatnot. Would you bring David Cross back for this one?
Oh, would I bring David Cross back? I would, but I would let him be a different character. I would let him like get his anger out about Ian in some way. It seemed like from the interview I saw, it seemed like it was like one executive, but I still think Alvin and the Chipmunks was the worst. Alvin and the Chipmunks 3 was the worst experience I ever had. It's a very funny sentence, even if it was just about one exec.
Right, right. I mean,
yeah, I might bring her back.
I mean, if nothing, it just has me now thinking like, what other like kids animated project would be hilarious as like a PG? Because I feel like we do this all the time, like retrospecting. Like I know with me and my friends or whatnot, we always have that joke of like, what if Pixar films were allowed to say like a curse word at one point or whatnot?
Right.
Like freaking Toy Story. You are a fucking toy.
That's good. No, I like that.
Like
or like Finding Nemo. Where's my fucking son?
I'm trying to find my fucking son. Ah, man. What was it? I've always wondered, like, I'm sure it's like a Tumblr post or something like that, but like people always joking about like what if Deadpool was in the MCU like earlier than he really was.
Oh yeah.
And like the fact that he realized, I have a PG-13 rating for my movie. I can only say the bad word one time, and I have to be careful when I say it. And it ends up being Wolverine saying the swear word. But regardless, that is a hilarious opportunity that people need to capitalize on one way or another.
Yeah, let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen, please. But sadly, we gotta get down from the dream scenario. We gotta get back to reality, and I'll ask the ever so generic question: where do you hope to see yourself in, say, 5 to 10 years from
now? Hopefully, I'm making cartoons somewhere.
Okay.
Making this show happen, or who knows, maybe another show. I just hope that like I'm still creating and making people happy. If that is still what's happening in my life and I haven't lost that, then like, it's all good. It's all good to me. Like then the next 5 to 10 years are a success. I don't want to lose that. I just want to keep making people laugh.
Good. That's a good thing to aspire for at the end of the day. As we start to wind down the interview, I just have one last question I want to ask you. Obviously, like I said before, you're deeply entrenched in art at this point for as early as you can remember, even before then. How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
Um, it might be the most important thing. If I'm being completely honest, it's how you understand the people around you. It's how you understand the world around you. It's how you express things. Um, you can't look literally like you can't look anywhere without art. Somebody had to design every poster, every bread sheet, every TV. That is all art. Uh, and I think like media in animation in general is like one of the most powerful tools in that way, to be able to bend reality and do anything that, as long as you can draw it, it can happen. Um, it's like the coolest thing. I still can't even wrap my brain around the fact that it's real, and that we're just allowed to do this. Um, but it's the coolest thing ever, and I just want I just animation is definitely appreciated, but I just want it to be appreciated more, and I want the world to appreciate art more. Um, yeah, I can't even imagine life without art. I would be so bored. Uh, it's the worst. We as people were created to create. Um, and we should all do that in our own ways.
Absolutely. That is wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself.
Thank you, thank you.
That is all the questions I have for you, Tariq. I've already showered you the whole bunch of praise, but I'm gonna show you a little bit more because it's my podcast. Do what the fuck I want.
Thank you.
No, but like I said, like ever since I first heard about you and obviously seeing your videos in the first place, like you've always had a really good presence, whether or not you enjoyed something or whether like with whatever you put out, like I always enjoyed your presence and how you were able to present topics that I may have never even thought about in the first place. You know, it really opened my eyes to more animation for me to truly love and appreciate, especially with how you're able to deliver it more than anything else. Like I didn't say this sooner, but like your voice is just so soothing at the end of the day, and I cannot get enough of that.
Thank you.
I cannot get enough of that with just like with watching the videos, but also like the time and effort that I could tell that you put in these videos, like it really shows at the end of the day. And then on top of that, really taking that love and support for animation to another level to where you want to add your own little piece to it with Hey and what you've been able to develop with that and this incredible story that myself and I know a lot of other people cannot wait to see. It's just been making me excited more and more for whatever you're going to be doing because I know whatever you're going to be doing is going to be absolutely amazing. Thank you for
Thank you.
I'll say thank you for putting yourself out there. Thank you for doing what you do. I obviously, if I can just say, keep up the incredible work because you're doing incredible stuff and you're providing that voice that I know a lot of people love and appreciate and cannot wait to hear more of. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for the kind words. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Along with this long list of tremendous guests. Thank you for adding me to that roster. Anybody listening, if this is your first episode of this podcast, go take a scroll. He got some hitters up here. I couldn't believe it. There's a lot of people up here.
You don't have to flatter me. You're already on the podcast. You're here. You're good. Heck, I had to ask you to be on here, okay? But regardless, if people, after they check out some of the awesome videos, which thank you for the plug, but if people want to check out some more of your stuff, if they'd never heard of you before, and potentially see why I've been gushing about you for the entire however long we've been recording, go ahead and plug your stuff for the people at home.
Yeah, ToonrificTariq, ToonrificTariq. I'm not on YouTube, on Twitter. You can follow my cartoon, at the Hey Cartoon on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Every Monday, I play streams with my friends on my YouTube channel to raise money for the cartoon, just for like pre-production stuff, just kind of a little change here and there. I have We talked about the podcast I do with my homeboy Johnny Two Cellos, Cartoons That Curse. Got a little gaming channel with my homeboy Hats Off Media, who creates the cartoon Screen Time.
Yes.
Uh, Me and him, we do that channel to, the whatever ads we get from the gaming videos, we'll split in half and go to both our cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and yeah, I think that might be it. Again, thank you so much for having me. This was great.
Oh, thank you. Trust me, it was an honor and pleasure for me. And I just wanted to say real quickly, hats off Media, another like incredible person that I definitely want to get on this podcast, because the show that he's making, Screen Time, which you're providing a voice for, by the way.
I am. I'm Stan.
Like, I absolutely I love just the concept and the look of it more than anything else. Like, he's definitely another one I definitely got to get on the podcast. And before I do my little sign off, I forgot to ask one last question.
Yeah.
Your name, ToonrificTariq. How'd you come up with that? I mean, I figured Tariq was obviously part of your name, but like,
Right. Yeah.
what made you want to go with the alliteration of ToonrificTariq?
It was literally, I just kind of was like, I need like a cute alliteration name. Part of it kind of came from Animat. He bodied his because his name is just Matt. And he just took the E off animate, and I was like, oh shit. So I wanted like a cute cartoon name. I was 14. If it was today, I probably would be called something else. Don't know what it would be, but I definitely knew I wanted to put my name in it though.
Right.
Just cause I wanted people to like know who I was. I mean, it sounds a little silly, but like comparatively, D'Angelo, Hats Off Media, I call him Hats. His name is not Hats. His channel name is Hats Off Media because that is the name of his show.
Right.
He is D'Angelo, but he is Hats. I didn't want people to do that to me. People called me Toon for a little bit, but then that wore off, and then it just became Tariq because I think everybody realized, like, hey, his name is actually right there.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah.
I'll say, look, as someone whose name of the channel is what people more or less call me by, because I get a lot of people that just call me Post. Like, I'm Post.
That's funny.
Like, people, it mainly started with one guy, another guest I had on the podcast named Eldridge Grandpa. He could not remember my name, Nathan, for the longest time, so he just called me Post because that was my Discord name, Post Mod Art Pod. So it's just like...
That's pretty funny.
and just people just started calling me Post. I'm like, well, it's not the worst nickname I've had in the world, so let's go with that.
That's pretty funny.
Do you have any final words before we sign off?
Yeah, just thanks for having me. If anybody out there in YouTube land wants to make cartoons, go for it. It's pretty fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. This was great.
Well, thank you once again for your time. I greatly do appreciate it. And for the people at home, all I'd love to say is, if you can, pay your artists.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If this is your first time listening, I genuinely do appreciate it. Like I said throughout the entire podcast, Tariq is just honestly one of the coolest people that I've gotten a chance to talk to. And the conversation that you just listened to, I cannot get enough of it. Tariq, if you've gotten up to this point, seriously, thank you for taking the time to do this. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you taking time out of your day to do this. Especially with all the cool stuff you're doing, not just with your channel, but also, like I said, with Hey. Like, I'm not lying when I say I'm genuinely excited for Hey and what you're going to be able to do with that. It's people like Tariq that just, I can't help but love and admire more than anything else. In the conversation, one of the things that he easily pointed out is part of the reason why he made his channel is because there wasn't a voice like that for him. So he went out there and made it. That's something that I cannot tell you how much I easily just connect with, mainly because that's how this podcast came to be. I mean, regardless, you see how it is years later. So many incredible people that we've gotten a chance, the honor to talk to more than anything else. So many cool conversations and so many incredible connections at the end of the day. And I'm really honored and blessed to have Tariq be a part of those connections now. I mean, I said it in the interview itself, but it wasn't for some of the dominoes that fell, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I wouldn't be part of the Animation Appreciation Hub, and I wouldn't be meeting so many incredible people and having a potential hand in helping them make their dreams a reality. That's what's important more than anything else. Seeing all these incredible creators that I've been able to bring on the podcast, talking to them, and doing whatever I can, whether it be as small as giving them a chance to talk, or no, let me go with smaller. With something as small as just reposting something that they're trying to get done, to giving them an opportunity to talk, to going as far as helping to fund it, or even to help with the creative process if possible. It's absolutely amazing, and I'm absolutely stunned that I've gotten to this point. And seeing other creators like Tariq being able to not only succeed but thrive in a space like this, it makes me excited. And I sincerely hope that you guys continue to support Tariq. You show some of the support to myself and the other guests I've had on this podcast, and you help them thrive. Especially with how weird and scary the space is today. Just any social space whatsoever. The one thing that we need to remember, well, funny enough, Tariq kind of says it with any of his videos. Unity. It's what we need. And in any community, that unity is genuinely what we need. So come together as a community and let's help each other thrive.